Hello, and welcome to Rallying the Forge. I'm your host, Sol. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rallying the Forge. And in this episode, I want to go through options to make decks, fuse decks, and how to deck build, perhaps. I have some stuff lined up, but then I'm going to kind of wing it for how I build the deck. I don't really have anything set in place, so you're going to kind of see my thought process. You'll see me hopefully speak out loud with what I'm thinking when I'm building a deck. So this will be a real deck building experience. I do have a deck in mind I want to build. I just don't know what I'm going to find. So, and everyone's going to have their own method to the madness. So I'm just trying to show you what options are out there, what resources are out there, and then I'm going to go through and create a deck, and hopefully that helps players, new and old, be able to find decks for themselves. And there's going to be nothing better than any of this other than actual experience. That's going to teach you what to look for in decks and whatnot. So I'm going to start within the client here. So you can fuse decks in the client, and you can use the fuse deck button, and then you can pick the first faction. I'm not going to go through all this in depth down to the final step and everything, but basically you're going to select the deck, select another deck, pick a Forgeborn, and it's going to have you name the deck, and then you save it. So I really like the layout here. I like how it shows you the Forgeborns. The problem I have is it's hard to see the synergies potentially in a deck because they're not side by side. You got to pull this up, and then you're selecting the second deck, and you got to, if I can grab that, you're trying to see, like, oh, what do we got here? But you can't see the other deck here. But I guess you could select it and then look at them. But then you go back and you got to reselect. Maybe you have to refine the deck. Maybe look at the deck name. So while it's visually better and more pleasing to do it in the client, I almost exclusively make it outside of the client because I want to be able to see the cards that are in the deck, the information on the cards. If they one day improve this where you're selecting, you get to this screen, oops, I just want to select the deck, and it lists the cards here as well, and you can hover over them and it brings them up or something, that would be great. It's still going to be hard because you can't do a lot of filtering. You can do some filtering, right? But I can't select multiple Forgeborns. I can only select one thing between each of these categories. A faction, a set, a Forgeborn. Well, in this case, we already selected the faction. So you can do that. There's also a new quick fuse button, which is going to pull in two decks together that they think have some sort of synergies that work well together. I'm not sure everything surrounding it, all the details, but to the best of my knowledge, it likes betrayers. Let's see if this one has a betrayer. Does. Betrayer Forge Seal. This one, no betrayer, but it seems to like to take. I fused one the other day when this came out, and my deck had a betrayer in it, and then someone else mentioned they did it and had a betrayer in it, and now testing it here, this has a betrayer in it. If you don't like the two decks, just go back out, hit it again. It gives you two different ones. So you can do this until you find what you like. So these are two options in the client to build a deck. I wonder... Oh, so that's what it is. So if you want to use, let's say I want to use this deck right here, you can hit this button. It's going to use the deck you selected and pair it with another deck that it thinks fits well. Betrayer Soul Reap. So you're likely going to get a Betrayer deck picked out. I don't know how much priority it puts on that, but it's a lot. I'm seeing it a lot, right? So the other thing you can do, of course, is play random decks, and it'll play 2 decks from your collection. This is similar to Quick Fuse, perhaps, and it's just going to pair 2 things up, and you get to experience 2 decks you might not have otherwise played. You can learn from those synergies, get other ideas. You know, to deck build, when you're starting out, you have no idea what to put together. Random deck is a great way to learn about whatever you have in your collection, assuming that you have more than just the starter decks. You know, which you can get if you purchase the Mastery track. You get a bunch of free stuff along the way. You get Phantom decks, you get decks you get to keep. You get treasure chests that can have decks in them. Eventually you get far enough that you get maybe I get far enough. Yeah, so you'll get set 1, set 2, and set 3 decks, 1 of each faction. You might get some randoms from there as well, so it's going to be a random faction. But you get a bunch of free stuff. I think the Master Track is $10. Well worth it if you intend to play the game. If you're going to play the game, get the Mastery Track. It's only $10. That's nothing compared to what you get. You get so much value out of it. So these are all methods inside the game, inside the client, that you can use to build decks. But it doesn't help you necessarily know what's going to be good and not good. And as I said before, experience is going to be the big driver there. Being able to see what other people are playing, what crushes you. Sometimes even good decks play poorly and don't do well, and you're going to think, gosh, this deck I thought was going to be so good, it's bad. And then you play it the next day and it dominates and it's crushing everything, and you're like, I don't know what happened. So there is a level of, sometimes you just get bad matchups, sometimes you get bad draws, sometimes the deck's just bad. Other times the deck could actually be good and you just have that bad luck with the bad draws, bad matchups. So there's a lot that goes into this, and I don't want people to think that they can watch this video and instantly turn around and they're now deck creating savants or anything of that nature. It took me a long time, and I'm still learning, to how to build decks, good decks. And while I'm much better than I was when I first started, I feel like I still have a long ways to go. There are some people who are just, they have a natural knack for it. They're just really, really good, brilliant people, and they can just do that like nothing. So there is that. So let's jump to some other tools you can use. So obviously there's the collection manager. I'm a big proponent of the collection manager. I think it's the best thing that's ever happened for SolForge Fusion. Without it, I'm not sure I would be able to play the game. It would just be too tedious to go through my decks one by one. Or even if I filtered for a certain card, it's still tough because you need to look. Then you got to look at, let's say I'm looking up a Blight Witch. I got to look through all my Blight Witch decks to figure out which one I want to use. That's really tedious to do through the app. So the collection manager, which I will have a link in the video description if you do not have it yet. It'll be this link to this website here. This will always have the most recent version of the collection manager up. So it'll link to it. You click the link, it opens it, you save a copy of it. I'm going to show my copy of it. I've modified mine, obviously. I have some additional columns, additional sheets, etc., etc. So the collection manager, you can close that out. It's going to pull in all your decks and give you a ton of deck information. I've gone through the collection manager a couple times. I'm not going to really rehash everything about it, but I will talk about what we're going to use from it. So if you're looking for tribal synergies, different, whatever you're looking for, they got a category for everything. That's what it seems like. So they cover everything. You can see what ranked decks are, if it's digital or not, what set it's from, how many pairings it's had. So you can get a lot of information out of it. And then the deck list, of course, I shrink down the column here, but it lists all the cards in the deck if you expand it all the way out. But because it's cumbersome to sort through that, you can sort by text contains and put in a word. Right, and now it's just going to have all the Blight Witch decks. You can see all the names starting with Blight Witch because it's early on. But all my Blight Witch decks. That's still a lot to go through. If you can't do multiple cards. You can use advanced search. And so you can put a bunch of stuff in here and do an advanced search, and it'll filter down your collection here. I don't use advanced search, so I'm not well versed in it. I'm not the right person to tell you how to use it. You got to figure that out on your own. In one of my videos, I do try to use it, and I kind of figure some stuff out, but it's not intuitive in my opinion. So what I do is I have some extra fields I've put into my sheet with a formula that will search for whatever word I put in to the top of its column. So in this case, the deck I'm going to be building deals with rallying. So now it filters and it gives me a count of how many rallying cards are in a deck. I'm in particular looking for a triple rallying deck, and that's the deck I'm going to end up trying to build today. So it's a nice easy filter. If let's just say I wanted rallying period, and I wanted to have it with, let's say I wanted an Apocamancer. Now I can filter the decks that have an Apocamancer and at least one rallying creature. Again, this is something I wish they would add to the collection manager just by default. I think it would be great, but it hasn't been added. They won't add it. I don't know. I haven't pushed hard for it or anything like that, but I think it's a great tool. It was created by a former player. He figured out the formula for it, and he shared it, and I've used it ever since. And it's been great for me. So this can filter down your decks to help you find something you're looking for with certain cards you want. So if you play a person, excuse me, and they have some really good spells, and you're like, wow, I'd love to have a deck with, most of those spells or most of those creatures, whatever it might be. So you jot down some of the names of the cards that you're going to look for. Well, in my sheet, which you can modify yours to be the same, you can put the names of those spells in or creatures and then filter and see how many you have with which ones. So that's a way to help quickly search through your collection to find multiple cards like that. You can also use, like I said, advanced search will do that as well. But there's another tool on here that can help you build a deck to help try to guide you towards how to find a pair. I think the first step that people need to have is you have to have an idea of some sort of deck style archetype that you want to play. And it's nice if you have. I should get the name of that deck real quick. It's nice if you have a deck in mind, or you filter down to a deck. Where was I? Because it's hard to build a deck with nothing in mind. If you're going to just smash two decks together and go with it, you might as well do a quick fuse or random. But if you're trying to build something that's specific, that you want a play style that you enjoy, maybe it's an aggro deck, maybe it's a control deck, maybe it's a life gain deck, whatever style deck it is you like, it's good. It's more ideal if you have an idea of what you want, and maybe you already have one half worked out. You just need to find a pair for it. So the Find Forgeborn feature, you have to enable it. I must see if I can't find. I think this is the deck. Okay, so it just takes a minute. I didn't modify any of the other settings here. I activated it and selected the deck. So it says pick non-Forgeborn deck. So it's assuming I don't want to use this Forgeborn. And then it's going to show pairings. And it comes up with a score. Granted, some of these scores are broken, and I don't know what's causing that. That's a bug that ML Vanby or Namrog would have to fix. So I don't know how it's doing its calculations. But you can see which decks it's saying to pair it with. It gives it a score. So if we open this deck up, we can see what it has. Oh, I know what this deck is. Yeah, no. Actually, yeah, it could work. I don't know if it's exactly what I had in mind, but maybe. Be interesting. So it tries to find you a deck with a Forgeborn that you'd want to use. I didn't look at the Forgeborn. I pulled that up and then didn't look. So Nyx Nekia gives you some minions and destroy a creature to play a creature for free. Level 4. And then this is what I like to do, is I like to be able to open it up to this screen. And I can look at the cards. I can instantly see by the names. It's a lot easier to see these versus scrolling through. I see this one, Triple Rallying. But I look at what else it has. We got a War Machine, a Hindermind, which is nice with the armor. The reinforcements. Aetherforge Oracle can be nice. Inventor's nice, gives you a Gizmo minion. And it has an Ironbeard. So I don't have a lot of replacement synergy other than the Rallying going on, really, and the Inventor. These two spells are not minion generating, so it's suggesting to me a minion based deck, which this one has all sorts of generation. Ghastly Renewal, Group Meal, Infernal Ritual, Nom Nom can give you a minion, Varnish Pact gives you a minion, Draft's Will gives you a minion. So minions to replace with Rallying is what it's giving me. But let's turn this back off. Don't know if it'll go away or not. Maybe not. But so in the collection manager, you have the Find Forgeborn tool. You have advanced search. And this is what a regular collection manager sheet looks like. And it goes through this with advanced search. So you can filter down to find decks that have things that you're looking for. And that's going to be key, knowing what you're looking for to an extent, right? You got to know at least, you have to know at least half the deck you want, is how I look at it. So this is the collection manager. We'll come back to this because I want to explore some other things before we actually go into the deck building. SolForgeFusionDecks.com, which I will have a link to. The site is free to use. You can see the global top 3 decks by faction when you go to the home page. This tells you the best of the best decks based on the scoring system that they've implemented. You can sign up for an account for free, and then this will pull up your 3 best decks for your account based on their scoring system. So you can see that information. If you make a donation through the deck export tool, donate, you can donate SFG or do it through PayPal, and it'll unlock this export button. It lets you download a CSV of all of your decks with all of the information, and then you have all of your deck scores. You can sort them, you can do it through the sheet, however you want. So I like this site because it tips you off to combos that they've put in the system, of course, and they've done extensive research and stuff on this. So, you know, they don't have everything in there that you might be like, this combination's crazy, and they don't have it in there. Well, you're not going to see it, and it's just, you know, a matter of time before, you know, whenever they do their next update, they'll try to catch it then. But they have most everything that's important if you want to make a strong competitive deck. And I like this because this site can give you a deck to build from. You don't have any ideas what to do. You're like, what do I build? Look at this site. You can look at your decks. It tells you what kind of stuff they have in their combos, quality cards. They've got a competitive score that gives you some other, sometimes information, sometimes it's blank, but it tells you things you might not have noticed or seen that are kind of hidden through the cards. So I'm looking, right? And at the top here in my Aloyan, we've got my triple rallying deck. So it's been there for a little bit. I've been meaning to build it, just hadn't got around to it. So we're going to try and build that today, though. And what's nice is they have a link. It opens up to the deck, and now you've got it in the web browser to view. Now, what this is not going to tell you or do for you is tell you what to pair it with. This site is looking at the deck, the half deck, on its own, in a vacuum. It is not how good is this deck can be to be paired with other decks. I have decks that... let me pull it up. Is this still sorted by ELO? So you can see this deck right here is half of the deck I had at Worlds last year. It's rated an 85. The other half of it is this one, and it's rated a 37. So it doesn't tell you what decks are going to be compatible together. It's just trying to give you information of decks that might be really good. Maybe, maybe not, right? You never know. You could have a deck that's really high scored and is really garbage. So I've got, for example, 3 Nova Elementalist decks at the top of Tempest. This one's pretty good. I'm not positive on what this one is, and I think this one is garbage. So it's one of the things I hate about the scoring algorithm for Tempest is Nova Elementalist is scored really high. And those decks have to be real synergistic, so they get a lot more points just by their nature, when a lot of Nova decks aren't that great, in my opinion. So, and I get that, you know, they can be strong decks even when there's a bad version of it. This deck could still win plenty of matches, but it's just I don't get to see the other decks that I have but I do have the export, so I have that information. And then what I do is I bring it into the collection manager on its own tab, and now I've got this sheet, and I can see all this information right here. This would be no different than a CSV, except this has the color coding, and I can scroll through it, I can filter it. You can do all that in the CSV as well, but you can see. So everything for me ties back to the collection manager and using the web links for the decks. So we'll see that when I go to build the deck. So something I want to point out, I want to say that you do not want to do is if you go to the SolForge Fusion website and you go to My Decks and you're like, oh, they've got this rarity score or this number next to a deck. It's an 84, 85. This one's a 93. Oh, this must be a really good deck. Well, we open it. Here you see the 93. It's an Aloyan deck, set 1. So it's got a charge-plated Raptor. It's got a Betrayer, Epoch Soldier, Shield-bearing Tactician, and Venerable Technohawk. 6 spells. So to me, this deck is garbage. It's my opinion. There could be some world where this is useful. I don't think so. With the 6 spells, I don't think so, but who knows? But this score it's a rarity score. It is not anything to do with how good the deck is. It gets a 93 because it has a Betrayer in there. So it's got a charge-plated Raptor, Betrayer. That's why the deck score is really high. So similar to SolForgeFusionDecks.com, in that their score doesn't necessarily tell you how good a deck's going to be to pair with it. The website's numbers are no indication that a deck is good, bad, or the other. Sorry, I got a little runny nose today. So don't think about these numbers for anything. They really are nothing to be concerned with. You can go through, and these numbers show up in the collection manager as well. If I go, so they have they call what they call deck score, and let's do okay, so you can see I sorted it from highest to lowest. You can see all these red decks up here. These all have an Omni in them from set 1. This one's set 4. Oh, this is the double legendary. Okay. Although it does have an Omni in it, technically. So you can sort these, and then if you look here, because I've got the overall score from SolForgeFusionDecks.com, you can look at all these scores. Look at them. 30s, 20s, 40, 50. Highest is a 54 out of all of them. So, but they have high deck scores. Which one's right? You know, in a vacuum, those decks on their own aren't necessarily great. By the deck score, it means nothing. It has no bearing on whether a deck is good or not. So here's another instance. It's not the highest rating, but it's got a 96 deck score. Again, means nothing, but it has a Betrayer Shambler. So it gets a high 74 for a Loyan from SolForgeFusionDecks.com. It's not, of course, it's not super high. I don't think I have that many super high scores anyhow. Yeah, I've only got 6 above 100. So, but my point being, these numbers are not the end-all be-all. What I like, though, is if you don't have an idea of what you want to build or what you should build, you can come here and find a deck. Open it up and be like, yeah, I might like to build something with this. What can I build with this? You can then go into the collection manager, do Find Forgeborn. You can do advanced search. You can also go into the client, filter for the deck, do a quick fuse. You gotta be on this sheet first, rather. Find the deck. You can do a quick fuse, or you can fuse deck. And that's going to be how you can build the deck. So again, deck scores don't mean anything. So don't focus on those. SolForgeFusionDecks.com. Use it as a guide, not an end-all be-all. Sometimes they hit the nail on the head. Other times they're a little off. Other times nobody knows, right? So those are all tools you can use to help you, one, start with finding a half that you want to build with, leading to building the other half of the deck, and then of course you go play with it and see how it works, and you have to refine from there. Having a larger collection, which I have a very large collection, helps because I have more options. When I'm like, this Blight Witch deck didn't work as well as I wanted, and I didn't have enough spells, maybe I've got a different Blight Witch with more spells in it. Maybe it'll work better. So that's where having a large collection gives you an advantage, is you have options. So the thought I had in mind with my triple rallying deck, and we're going to shift gears here now. I'm going to build a deck. I'm going to go through my process, so you see what I'm thinking when I'm doing this. So we got triple rallying. I was thinking some sort of deck where I can bring them back. So we're looking for reanimation type effects. It'd be nice to have some minions to be able to put them over, obviously. So being able to have some minion generation. So I'm instantly led to Utera and Necrium decks. Tempest, while it does have minions, I don't feel it has great minion generation. I don't know if I have a deck in Tempest that's like all it does is play minions. Maybe a set 4 deck with Volteris can do that type of thing, but then it's kind of more focused on spells than it is anything else. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't really played a whole lot with Volteris, and I don't know how many Volteris decks I have that would necessarily fit the mold. So we're going to look at Utera and Necrium, and my initial thought was Necrium. So instantly I'm thinking, how are there 2 in a deck? I gotta see this one. Oh, it didn't take. It didn't take the change right away. It was slow. Normally it's not that slow. Okay. So we filter down to River of Soul decks. So that's going to be a set 3 card. You can see all over here, set 3. What else do I want? I don't think Ghastly Renewal. Let me pull it up here. It's in set 2 and set 1, but not set 3. Okay. Good to know. They do have various dire hounds. I don't have a single dire hound. Did I misspell it? Let's make sure I'm not... Oh, they're there. Interesting. I don't have a single one combination like that. I do. Why is it... Tell you what, this thing's acting all weird right now. Alright, I've got 6 decks with a River of Souls and a Dire Hound. So, what I like to do is, I narrowed it down pretty quickly with these 2 cards I'm looking at because they both bring things back. So what I do is, I open all the links up because for me, it's the best way to view a deck and see what might be in them, right? So there could definitely be some other cards I'm looking for with these that will go into it. We'll see. I'm gonna scan through them real quick. I'm not looking for anything in particular necessarily. Just looking for an idea to see if anything sticks out. I'm like, oh, I should have that in the deck. So I do see first off that I have a Vampiric Direhound, which I did not know I had, with a River of Souls. So that can be a deck idea on its own. It's probably in my list. So on my phone, I have a list of deck ideas that every time I play people, and I do have a deck written down, Vampiric Direhound. Interesting. But every time there's a deck that I come across, I'm like, that was a good deck. It worked pretty well. Let me write it down so I can, maybe build an iteration of my own. What's this fraud do? It does grow though. So obviously in set 3 there are certain cards. Darkshaper Savant's going to be a really good card to have. Hand 2, if it's in there, is going to be a really good card to have. Sack Chamber can be really nice. This one has a Chanting of the Abyss, Mothril. I don't really like that. This is just to have a Dreadbolt though. It's nice to have a removal card. Restless Dead, but there's no Hand 2. These are spirits though, so I can bring them back with that. So that's really kind of good too. Restless Dead. Restless Dead. So first thing I want to do, so we got, I didn't see the last deck. Hand 2 and Darkshaper. Okay. Abyssal Direhound, that can be really good too. So first things I'm looking at is, can I eliminate any of the 6 decks? I want to cut it down as much as I can. One of my problems is I get to a point where I can't cut it down and I'm like, what do I do? So I make like 6 decks of the same version. Maybe one half is the same, but it's 6 other halves that I'm like, I don't know which one's the best one to use. And then I got to go test it a bunch. So I can say this, I'm not a fan of Chanting of the Abyss. I've got other decks with Darkshaper Savant. I don't have any with Dreadbolt, but it'll be something I have to deal with perhaps. Not having that kind of removal. This one has a Hand 2. I think it was the only one with Hand 2. It also has an Abyssal Direhound, which can be nice, and a Darkshaper Savant. So this one will stick around for now. This one, I think, is one of the ones I'm going to get rid of. I don't like Vile. I mean, it makes a creature, can make a creature really strong, but you have to destroy one of your creatures, and we need bodies in this deck. So it's just, I don't think Explosive Demise is the same problem. This deck also has Explosive Demise, so it might be a problem. This deck here has Restless Dead and River of Souls, so I want to keep that one around. This one also has Restless Dead and River of Souls with the Direhound, and it's a vampiric one. So I'll keep that one around. And then I might get rid of this one. Not sure. Yeah, we'll do it. I can't be too picky, right? I don't want this to be in a 6-hour video of me debating between 6 decks for my deck half. So I'm down to 3 choices. Ideally, I get this down to 2 or 1. Really preferable 1 that I'm like, this is the deck. Sometimes I get it down to 2. Sometimes I get stuck at 3 and I'm like, I just can't choose. I will be able to choose on this one. At least down to 2. I'm going to have to eliminate 1. I'm going to force myself to do it. It's really hard. So my whole premise is I have triple rallying, so I'm going to be drawing them. It's going to be unlikely that I bottom 5 all 3 of them every round or multiple rounds, multiple cycles. And once I get one out there, even if I don't get the rallying effect from it, I play it, it dies. Now I can bring it back out. So that's the whole thing. With Aetherforge Oracle, I can upgrade one, and it goes to the discard pile. The upgraded version goes to the discard pile. The other one goes to the banish pile, where I can bring it back from. So, really like my odds of getting a rallying creature in the banish pile to bring back. These all have River of Souls. They all have a Direhound, which you have to play the first level of the Direhound and the River of Souls to get minions out there, which gives you bodies for... Well, this one you destroy a creature to play a mindless zombie minion, but they give you bodies to put the rallying creatures on, which is nice. And then this one has Restless Dead, which can reanimate a spirit, which the Direhounds are beast spirits. I should make sure they're all that. Looks like they are. So I can bring back a Direhound using Restless Dead. In this deck here, I've also got Hand 2, so that can also be dangerous for people. It lets me bring back creatures unless they pay health for that. But this has Explosive Demise, and I don't know how much I like it. The Drake, I'm also not a fan of the Drake. I'm okay with the Banshee, a Brood Banshee. It can move stats around. I'm okay with that. The Maw, I'm good with. Moeba, level 1 always sucks, but level 2 and beyond is pretty good. Dark Pryings lets you reanimate if it deals damage to player this turn. The next time it does. So this one has Hungering Strike. And this one has Corpus Cliffs, which I'm not huge on. Does this... So after the level 1, again, kind of you can notice a lot of these cards you have to suffer through the level 1 version to get the benefit to where you want it to be. So this one, this could be pretty good actually. So it kind of turns into a minion. It plays a minion for you. The level 1 that you have to destroy a card to play a mindless zombie minion, and then after that you destroy your Corpus Cliffs. It doesn't say 2. Then you just play a minion in this lane. You just wouldn't get the benefit, the bottom benefit of it, of the plus attack. I don't like Dissipating as a Forge word. Brood I'm okay with. Gloom Reaper Hag's good. Graveborn Caller's nice because it can generate minions when it does damage. Grimgaunt Predator's nice, a threat to have. So, and Vampiric Direhound, every time it's coming back, that we're bringing this back. Granted, we're going to be wanting to bring back the level 2 and level 3 versions more so, but he's going to be doing the Vampiric ability. And then we should consider the Cersei abilities. So, destroy a creature to pump something, give all non-Necroom creatures minus stats. Grave Robbery is put a creature from an enemy player's banish pile into any of your lanes, so you get to steal something that you've killed. I actually kind of like that. Hungering Strikes, okay. Crypt Haunter does have a Shambler in it, which is nice. Cersei, level 2 Sorrow, Grave Robbery at level 3, and then Cersei's Propaganda in cycle 4. Don't know. This is tough. They're all a little different. I really don't like the Explosive Demise. Other than it works with Hantu. And Dark Shaper Savant. Do these have... This doesn't have it. This doesn't have it either. Odd. So I think... Now, you know what? Here's another thing I have to check. Which ones of these are on my account? So the Soldiers, for example, are on my son's account. It's a digital deck. It's not minted. So I'm going to have to eliminate this one, even though I was about to say I want to keep this one. Which means I'm going to take this deck, and that's what I'm going to pair it with. And I'm pretty sure... I might not use the Cersei. I might use the Lectured Bubble Vigil. I might use Ironbeard with it. I don't know that I like that. But there's that. So let me pivot. What else can we do? So set 3, I looked at my best set 3. We could look at set 4 with like a KC Kid and a Rite of the Fallen. Man, this thing is not updating properly. It is slow. I don't know. Oh, there it goes. This thing, you know why? I bet it's probably because this thing. Okay. So there is a problem with activating the Find Forgeborn thing. It does weird things in the background. But that might be what was causing this to be slow. There we go. So here, I'm not going to pull up my son's decks. I will pull up the 3 that I have and see if any of them might be interesting enough. This has a lot of augments. I wonder how many warriors are in this deck. 1, 2, 3. Pipwick. This actually be really useful. Upgrading a card in your discard pile. Letting you get one into the banish pile. So this has pestilence in it, which I really, really like. Alright, we'll keep that one around, and then I want to find a set 1 or 2 version. We're going to end up making 3 decks out of this. So we need a Stitcher, Ghastly, Renewal, and I'm unsure what else. Harvester would be nice, maybe. These are all on my account, so we'll open them. Does have all that, wow. Corrupt Moeba, though. So we'll open these up. So this has the Grimgaunt Harvester. That wasn't what I wanted. Grimgaunt Harvester, again, not what I wanted. Corrupt Drake, unfortunately. This one's a maybe. Okay, or maybe, and then this one had the Corrupt Moeba. So we have Stitcher, Harvester, you have a Darkheart, Devouring Fiend, a Reaper. Spell package is nice. Dreadbolt, Ghastly Renewal, Om Nom Nom. This one has Soul Reap for Beast Synergy. Okay. Infernal Ritual, Om Nom Nom, Varnish Pact. A lot of minion synergy here. With an Indomitable Fiend with a Cutthroat Stitcher. So I'm liking that one. Ghastly Renewal, Varric's Embrace. Does have a Shambler in it. And a Zymus, which is really nice too. I think the one I want is going to be that one. So there. That was quick. Could have debated longer on those a little bit maybe, but This one will be okay. So then we want to make a deck. So this is where I fuse my decks, is on the web page. I use this here, and we're going to start with this one. We gotta come up with a name. I didn't think about a name for a deck. Here's what we'll do. I'm gonna name it after my series, huh? Okay, so I made the first deck. It's right here. I'm using this deck over and over with it. I gotta figure out if I'm using this Forgeborn. Yeah, I will. Oh, I just did Rally the Forge. And then we'll do our last one. I don't know if I want to do this here, see. I guess I will. I don't know. Okay, so I've got 3 versions. I've got a set 4 pair, I've got a set 3 pair, and I've got a set, I think it's a set 1 pair. Clear these filters. And now I can go to my collection. They're not showing yet, so we refresh it. We're at 76 decks. Should be at 79 now. And I know not everyone has this large collection where you have all these options, so you may not have the same requirements for the deck that I'm going to have. At least what I'm envisioning. I don't even know if this deck's going to work. So, you know, using all of the tools that we have available to us can help you build a deck, and then it's a matter of going and playing it. One of the things about a deck is just because you played it a couple times, don't take it for that the deck's good or bad. If you're winning with it, it could be good. You might be doing something right, but when you have the deck, there might be certain play lines you're not seeing yet, hasn't come to you yet. You haven't learned what to play in what situation, what card takes priority. These are all things that come at different paces for players. Some people, they just know, and that's great. There's other people who have to play it 100 times before they figure it out. They're like, oh, I should have been doing this all along. And that's okay. The biggest thing is practice makes perfect. Playing and getting experience playing will help you identify decks that can be really good, give you ideas, and then use the tools from those experiences to help you find decks to start building with, and then also to find a pair with and put them together. One of the biggest things is people go into the online battle queue and they're going to come up against some really tough people, and they're like, I'm losing a lot. What do I need to build? And they ask people, look over their collection. Can you come up with a deck for me? And plenty of people will help you out and do that. It's not a problem. I've done it for people. But it's not always easy. It's not just having the right two pairs together are going to make you win. There's a lot of other factors that go into it. Learning how to play the deck, who you face, the matchup you have. A lot of factors that go into it. And, until you grow your collection some, it's going to be harder because you're limited in what you can pair together. And like I said, the mastery track will get you a ton of decks to help grow your collection so you can get more decks, get more options, and fuse better decks together over time. It's just going to be it's a process. So hopefully this video helps some people trying to figure out how to deck build, what to deck build. There's no cookie cutter formula for how to build a deck and be successful with it. Like I said, I've got a document with 50 to 100 different deck ideas of people I've played in events and online, and I'm like, it's a really good deck. It's a really good idea. Let me write it down, because if I pull a deck that's something similar to that, I might look to build it and see how I do with it. In other games, you can copy a person's deck card for card and have the same deck as them. In SolForge Fusion, you cannot. Every deck is a one-of-one, unique. You can get close similarities, but never have the same two decks. So I definitely take notes. There are times where I come up with ideas on my own, and that's great too. No matter how you want to build your decks or where you get your ideas from, that's okay. It doesn't matter, as long as you make a deck, you play with it, and you have fun. That should be the goal, is to have a good time. Losing does suck, and I don't like to lose, but there are days where I do lose a bunch, and it's annoying and frustrating. But that's how it goes sometimes. Like I said, some decks you play it one day, it loses every match. You're like, what the heck? The next day you turn around, you win every match with it. So that can happen. Sometimes decks are like that, and then maybe you play it another week later and it wins all its matches again. You're like, hey, this deck might be pretty good. And as you learn to play it better and get better with it, maybe it starts winning more too. So like I said, there's a lot of factors involved with it. I'll try to have links to everything I shared in the video today. The collection manager, SolForgeFusionDecks.com. Of course, the website should be on there. I think there's a link for it on there now. But definitely use all the tools that are at your fingertips. And you can always ask in Discord and have someone do it for you, but eventually you're going to have to learn how to do it on your own, because you may be in a place where you don't have access to it or time for somebody to dig through it, and you need to make a decision and put something together. So yeah, I just wanted to put this out there. I know I've done some other deck building videos, but I always want to try to refresh it, touch on it some more. Hopefully my videos are getting better for you guys, for making the decks and whatnot, and it's coming together more coherently. Sometimes I'm all over the place. Hopefully I didn't go too fast through anything this time. although I might have at the end there. But yeah, so I do appreciate your time. If you've made it this far, you've made it to the end. So thank you, everyone who's watched, who supports the channel. I do appreciate it. I appreciate your time. And I will be looking forward to putting out another video next week for you guys. So be on the lookout for that. And we'll see what is coming up next in SolForge Fusion. Take care, guys. See you next time. This has been an episode of Rallying the Forge. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.